Nikaya, 3 refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand for the Heart Sutra on page 4. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva practicing deep Prajna Paramita clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra form is no other than emptiness, emptiness, no mental reaction. Consciousness are also like this Shari Putra. All things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, no tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond delusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajna paramita, attaining anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra, set forth this mantra, and proclaim Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisvaha, Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisvaha, Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisvaha. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the 6 worlds, and dedicated and grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartnet Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Holly, Kelly, David, Jerry, Lori, Hazel, Fatima, Sister Suzette, Shauna, Sarah, Soke, Roger, and the Ardner family. May they heal their ills, as well as Andy, Debbie, Phyllis, and Stacy at the time of their deaths, as well as those whose names we now hold in the silence of our hearts, and those we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. Time. Please prepare for zazen. Grammar school kids and teachers are dismissed to order. We will now recite the Song of Covenant on page 8 of your liturgy. We, the Daishin Kokuji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated for today's talk. Please sit comfortably and so that you can see the teacher.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please sit comfortably and so that we can easily see each other. A quiet season here at the temple, not much activity. A few simple occurrences, some Tibetan monastics visiting forever. A mere gathering of dragons from the east and the west and the south, joining here to see another dragon be acknowledged. And then a bit of sesshin, a bit of bringing it back home, landing. The retreat that we all just finished, or many of us just finished, had as these sesshin retreats always do, it had its own kind of quality. And I found myself this morning in the concluding shares really thinking about marrow, partly because I've been making bone broth lately. I have a newfound appreciation for the value of marrow. But also I think because marrow is really, it's in the in. You can't get more inner, And how do you nourish the marrow? How do you nourish the marrow of the bone? The inside, the bone's got this, bony stuff. And then in there, the thing that actually feeds your entire body's blood. How do you nourish this marrow? There are many answers. But spiritually, there's only one way, and that is you have to realize the one mind. You have to realize one mind. You have to realize yourself. You have to realize your nature, and the nature of the cosmos is not separate. No less than that is the business of our house. Before I get to the Lankavatara, I want to bring you some words from a 9th century master, Huang Bo, a wonderful teacher. I highly commend you to him, or him to you, I suppose. He said this: all Buddhas and all living beings are only one mind. There is no other reality. This mind, from beginninglessness, has never been born and never passes away. What is this unborn mind? What is this undying mind? Huang Bo goes on, he says, it is neither blue, nor is it yellow. It has no shape, nor form. It does not belong to existence or non-existence. It does not count as old or new. It's neither long nor short, large nor small. It transcends all limiting measurements. It transcends all limiting measurements. By the way, this is not some it far off in some other realm, dear one. This is a description of you. Transcends all limiting measures, all labels, all traces, all oppositions, perhaps all identities, we might say in today's language. It's very interesting because it's important to appreciate and respect and understand our identities and how they interface and intersect and what this means in the world. Of course, this is not negating that basic fact. And yet, the essential truth that all of us express is beyond any such mere contrivance. So says the Dharma, anyway. This very being is it. Being itself is it. When you stir thoughts, however, you turn away from it. It is like space, which has no boundaries and cannot be measured. This one mind is itself Buddha, Buddha and sentient beings are not different. Now, to appreciate the radicalness of that statement, much of the traditional Buddhist canon is languaged in terms of suffering sentient beings, coming to awakening and being free from suffering and realizing Buddhahood. Seems intuitive enough. You don't have the thing, you do the work, you have the thing, A, B, C. And yet, consistently, the Dharma says, already you are it. Nothing to realize. No job needs doing here. No difference between elevated Buddha consciousness and you. It's just that sentient beings, I remember that used to sound strange to me. I've heard it so much now I've acclimated to it. But it's a being that has senses that you can experience. There's something that it's like to be you. There's something that it's like to be a pug or a kitty. As far as we know, and we could be very wrong about this, we don't think that there's any experience attached with being, say, a rock or a star or a cloud. We may be mistaken in that, we don't know, but we don't think so. But clearly, if there's a being that has senses, then that being can suffer. If there's enough mass, it's going to have gravity, and the gravity will affect what's around. It's like a law of physics. And in this way, if a being, and this, by the way, if the aliens come down from whatever Orion system they're from, let's say, if they have senses enough to sense things, then they are sentient beings. And that means they can potentially suffer. And the Dharma says, and there's a way to realize freedom from that suffering and bring life to life even more abundantly, more fully, more joyfully. It's just that sentient beings seek externally, grasping appearances, losing more the more they seek. You think about it, your eyes are evolved or designed to see things out there, and your brain has come to make meaning of it in here, and you think, I like that, I don't like that, I don't even notice that thing. The ear, it would seem obvious to hear sounds from out there somewhere, but there's more to it, isn't there? It turns out there's quite a bit more to it than that. But to find that, you've got to be still. You've got to be still enough that you can pay pristine attention to the actual experience that's occurring within you and around you. And when you're out there chasing pretty things and running from scary things, say, when the light show is flashing in your eyes and you're full of ambition and desire or terror and disdain, there's no time to feel or think anything beyond the crass and the brute. And so we consciously come together and make a space where we set these things aside and we make a clear path. At this time, this happens. At this time, this happens. And we move together as a crew. Why? Because it helps and it works. If a practitioner seeks to make a nest there and escape the world, it will not be allowed. The world must be dealt with, but that means that you must deal with yourself. So we come together and we put ourselves deliberately in this place of training and practice, not as an escape from the world, but as a way to deeply embrace it, not as a way to punish ourselves with some imagined ascetic virtue, but rather to train ourselves to be able to more fully enjoy and more fully contribute and more fully grieve and cry and laugh and the whole thing. What would it be like if you were actually free to just be yourself and trust yourself? Like for real? Well, there's only one way to know. The more the sentient being seeks after appearances, the more gap they create. You know, it always seems like the answer is more. Just one more shot at the pinball machine or the blackjack table. One more, I got it, I can feel it. One more. One more. You know how that works, right? It's set up so that you win just enough that you think you can. Foot the house always wins, right? It's like this. You chase after, you get a little scrap of pleasure. A mere scrap of pleasure, and you think, oh, that's it. More. Wrong. You know what you should do with pleasure? You should enjoy it. And then you know what you do then? You give it away. You enjoy that pleasure on behalf of those who at this moment do not have access to it. So if you're able to hear right now, you can enjoy the fact that your ears are working and be mindful of the fact that there are those today who will lose their hearing. And you can dedicate and be mindful of those folks while you go ahead and enjoy your ability to hear. If you try to have Buddha seek Buddha or use your mind to grasp a hold of mind, you will simply never succeed. Well, you'll succeed at seeking, but you won't succeed at finding. By the way, give up the identity of a spiritual seeker, please. If you take that on as your identity, you will then perpetually be a seeker. You'll get exactly what you want. Please drop this idea. What is it like to be a spiritual finder? Try that one. It's strange how doubt works, is it not? You can be in the midst of a wonderful thing and convince yourself it's hell on earth. Conversely, we all can think of stories and perhaps have lived a few where we've been in objectively really bad circumstances and somehow there's a freedom there. Situation sucks, yes, but there's a freedom there somehow, or at least there can be. What you don't realize, the sutra goes on to say, or Huangbo goes on to say, is that if you stop thoughts and forget ruminations, then Buddha spontaneously arises. It's what's inherently there. It's not added. It's simply, we're too distracted by the light show. We're too pulled in by the churn. There's no time to breathe. Quick, quick, hurry. Now it must be, oh, you're late. Learn how to be still. Give yourself the gift of knowing for yourself. You can, for a couple of breaths, sit down and just be okay. Kind of no matter what's going on. No, you see, Roshii, you don't understand. My life is a hot mess. I know no one else is, but me, I'm a hot mess. So I have no time to practice, clearly. Let me wait till this churn and chaos settles down, and then I'll start taking care of myself. Listen to yourself. Do you hear what you just said? I'll wait until I'm completely healthy, and then I'll start taking care of my body. No, it doesn't work that way. I guarantee you, you will always have cogent rationale for why there's no time for you to sit. There will always be some rationale you can concoct why you don't have time to take care of yourself. But I tell you, it's a bad trade. It's an extraordinarily bad trade. Particularly if it works for you for a while, because then you will happily trade your health and your life and your time for what? Because whatever that thing is, it's impermanent. It'll come and it'll go. And you'll be left with the karmic habit patterns of that pain that is unaddressed. You already know that. I'm just telling you. I'm just voicing it. This mind itself is Buddha. What does Buddha mean, by the way? It means awakening, awakened one. This mind itself is reality. This mind itself is the nature of reality itself. It's not out there somewhere to be found. As sentient beings, the mind is not diminished. And as Buddhas, the mind is not increased. So a question came to the Buddha. So says the Lankavatara. Tell me, said Mahamati, what is the fruit that comes from the realization of one mind? What are the goodies we get if we realize noble wisdom? The Buddha replied, first, there will come a clearing insight. Try to track this now. First, there's a clearing insight into the meaning and significance of things. Then, there comes an unfolding insight into the significance of the paramitas. Let's open that up a little bit. First comes a clearing insight into the significance and meaning of things. Just consider how much suffering you've heaped on yourself because you didn't quite catch the actual significance of something. It didn't seem like a big deal at the time. And then, the ability to feel and to connect with what is and is not significant is no small thing. You can easily spend a decade chasing something that seems quite significant, but in fact is not. True? Can anyone relate? We're lucky to have some young folks in the Sangha. It might seem to you like 10 years is a long time. It's not. I suppose that comes having lived through 5.5 of them now, I can say that. But really, if you think about it, you can spend your whole life trapped by the insignificant because you don't see what actually is significant. What about it? Is the approval of that group of friends in high school really as significant as the consequences that can come from it? Friendship matters, of course. I don't know about you. I mean, I'm a solid Gen Xer. Back when I was in high school, some heavy stuff went down. And some misperceiving of what is significant occurred, and some folks I went to school with died. Literally died. For what? Significance and meaning. Meaning. Ooh, meaning. This is a very, very powerful thing. As Homo sapiens, meaning is a big deal for us. What does this mean? What is the meaning of this? What is... Gosh, sometimes people get in these funny little eddies. I don't know quite why I'm saying this. Maybe someone here will know. But you can get into a trap where you start looking for signs and omens and portends. Is it safe to go to Kroger today? No, it's not. The signs have been noted, yes. I mean, I literally once knew a dude who would literally have to consult the I Ching to see if it was safe for him to leave his apartment in the city. And he would take a copy of the I Ching with him, and when he got to the end of the block, he would consult to see if he should go right or left. Obviously, this is a troubled person. But this is a scale that all of us are on to some degree or not. You want to know the meaning. What is meant to be? If only I could find out what I'm meant. Where's this coming from? Who's up in the sky somewhere telling you what things mean? And you have to, what, this is a charade game? Some cosmological guessing game, and you guess wrong and you're punished for eternity? Come on. But there is meaning. What does it mean to be in the depths of silence in a multi-day retreat, and the mind becomes so still that you can hear the sunlight coming through the temple window? And this clearing insight into the significance and meaning, I'm pretty sure that one of the ways I see it a lot is with a little bit of really sincere and earnest practice, suddenly your significance and meaning meter goes way up. And sometimes, honestly, it can be kind of troubling to the practitioner because, I don't know, say you've spent a dozen years plus doing something that really is insignificant and has no meaning, but you didn't know until today. That's maybe not your best day, but maybe it is. Maybe it's painful. Maybe it's complicated and messy, but maybe it's true. And you can finally see it, and you actually have steel enough in your spine to not hide from that. Not an easy day, but definitely a good one. This clearing insight into significance and meaning is a great, great treasure. Now, the unfolding insight, okay? Clearing insight has this connotation in our language of it's just like it just cuts the brush away. It's clear now, you can see it, right? Now, this unfolding insight, this has a different quality in our language, right? This unfolding, this continually opening. I had cause several times this weekend to use the image of a fractal. A fractal, for those who may not know, it used to be cool. It was this thing where you could see, back when computer graphics were young, it's like if you imagine zooming into a coastline, say, and then no matter how much you zoom in, it keeps unfolding with more and more depth, and you never hit bottom with the thing. The paramitas are like this. What is the paramitas? The paramitas are the perfections. We read them today in our liturgy. I'll just glance at them with you. The practice of generosity. Generosity, magnanimous, generous mind. Unfolding insight into the mind of magnanimous generosity. An ever deepening, ever unfolding, ever more expansive generousness. What a different lens to see your life through. Moral discipline. Like virtue, folks. Virtue matters a lot. Like a whole lot. Simply put, to be unvirtuous is to heap suffering on yourself and others. Cut it out. It's not helping anybody. It doesn't even feel good when you're honest about it. Patience. Patience is very much my ally and friend. I rely on patience. And patience knows that patience can rely on me. I hope you make good friends with patience yourself. Much trouble comes when it's lacking. How long will the parent wait for the child to walk? Long as it takes. And for those who've been there and done that, when you see your kiddo actually being physically able to take steps, it's an immense relief and it's scary as hell. It's all of that at once. But imagine a parent who's sitting there saying, you need to walk right now. I'm telling you, young man, right now this has to happen. Get those legs moving. This is silly. How long does the farmer wait for the seeds to mature? Would a wise farmer go down and grab that seed and say, it's time for you to sprout right now? Did that help? No, you just killed the plant, dude. Chill. What you need to do is focus on creating a good environment. Make sure that soil has deep nutrition in it. Make sure the air is clean, please. Good, clean water. Love. Love. The seed will do its own thing. You reaching down there trying to make this thing grow is just, you're mucking it up. By the way, I'm talking about yourself. Do you relate to yourself with correct significance and meaning? Or are you trying to pull yourself up in some way that's actually hurting yourself? I invite you to consider patience. Joyful effort. This is something, last weekend we had these amazing teachers here. I mean, that was just, wasn't that astonishing, those who were here? To see that row of human Buddhas kind of coming in here one after the next. It's like, oh my God, I better sit straight. And I had a really interesting perspective on this because I'm the caboose of the train, so I can see the mostly bald heads and the robes, like dirt, and then the beautiful red flourish. Wow. A little splash of color. And if you could quantize the amount of effort that those people have put into the Dharma, I don't know how you could calculate such a thing. There's no way to calculate it. Massive effort. Whole lives combusted. And not grumblingly so. Not with a bunch of kvetching and whining. Well, okay, at moments. But the overarching trend here is not begrudging effort or disdainful effort or now you owe me one effort. No, the effort is what? It's joyful. How much effort does it take to hug your child? Hopefully, not much. Well, occasionally. And I put the caveats in there, let's keep it real, shall we? Sometimes you can hear these virtues and think that, you're supposed to be floating on some cloud of love all day, and let's be real about things. Nonetheless, in the center of the effort, there can be, let me say it that way, there can be this bubbling spring of joy. I've been very lucky to know a number of very deeply realized humans. And one quality, no matter how grumpy they may be at times, or scholarly, or how much they love flourishes, Haji loves a good flourish, There's this joyfulness that's kind of in the marrow of the bones. The marrow of those bones are generous. They're not calculating with a spiritual abacus what they're owed. Oh, there's a great monk from China, says the emperor, or a great monk from India, says the emperor of China. He came up, bring him before me. Bodhidharma comes to the emperor. Who could have your head? With a gesture to a soldier. You're a great teacher from India? Some say. Well, I've created temples and monasteries, and I've done this and this and that, and I've propagated sutra copying. What do I get? Nothing. No merit. Off with his head. Interestingly, the exchange goes on. Well, who are you to say this to me? I don't know. While everyone was stunned, he left. Kind of like Dosho. Oh, Dosho, if you're listening, blessings. So joyful effort, concentration, okay? This is the concentration. It doesn't mean, hey, concentrate for a second. It means your mind and your body are deeply cohered together, okay? It's not just a mental phenomenon. Your body and your mind are connected and cohered, right? You're connected to yourself, and the mind is deeply present. You have to get to the point, or you can get to the point through practice, where the weight of your mental concentration is far stronger than anything that comes in through your senses. Be they sights, smells, sound, touches, feelings of the body, emotions, thoughts. Nothing that comes in through the sense gates is stronger than your own rootedness. Not just situationally true, always true. This concentration is not to be overlooked. In fact, the very first order of business when someone comes into the community and seeks to train in the way, the first order of business is that concentratedness, that equanimity. But please notice that the sutra is saying this is an unfolding clarity. It's not a one and done. There are levels. And for those of you that are breaking through, and many of you are, just to say it, enjoy your progress, savor it, acknowledge it, do not belittle it. But don't be satisfied with it either. There's more. And it's delicious. Wisdom itself. Insight into one mind, realizing the one mind, expressing and embodying and living and dying as one mind. Unfolding insight. Skillful means the ability to meet the moment well. What is the fruit of the Buddha Dharma? An appropriate response. Unshakable vow. The kind of long-term stability of intent. Long-term stability of intent and intention. You're beyond being yanked around by current trends. The current, you're engaged, you know what that is, but you're not subject to it in the same way that you were. This stability of vow, this clarity, it's like the rudder. It's what keeps the boat up in the water and gives it direction. Now, don't be confused. Sometimes we tend to think, well, I've got to figure out what I'm supposed to do in the world, and there's work to be done there, perhaps. But that's not the answer. You can be the right person for the right job at the right time and hate life while you're doing it. You can be the wrong person for the wrong job at the wrong time and actually be quite free. Ideal? Be the right person for the right job and enjoy it. That's where we're going. But understand that fundamentally it has nothing to do with your address, what car you drive, what your bank account looks like, what letters are behind your name, your history. It's not so small as those things. Spiritual powers. They exist. Awakened awareness. All of this for my benefit. And these things keep opening. They keep opening. They keep opening. It's like Christmas every day for those who have good memories of Christmas. If you have bad memories, forget I said it. By reason of which the bodhisattvas are able to enter more deeply into the abode of imageless and are able to experience higher samadhis and gradually to pass through the higher stages of bodhisattvahood. Now, I don't know if you've picked up on this or not, but there's kind of a strange chicken and the egg thing going on here, right? What is the fruit of self-realization? Says the querent. Give us a picture. What's it like when this is all done? I just want to hear. Oh, well, there's some clearing insight into meaning and significance, and then you have an unfolding insight that keeps unfolding perpetually into the truth of patience and generosity and moral discipline and wisdom. And then because of that, you can attain even deeper states of imagelessness, and you can experience higher samadhis. Wait a minute, aren't I supposed to get those samadhi things, whatever that is, together and the paramitas so that I can then realize myself? Isn't that the way this works? What's happening here? Is it 1 and 1 is 2 or not? Well, the truth is, all of this is upaya. All of this is skillful means. And when you really examine it with your life, with your beating heart, they all tumble and collapse into one. And yet we, as messy, suffering people and noble, beautiful people, we need a way in. And so structure comes. And enlightenment is a continual unfolding process. It's not a prize you get and go home and stick on your shelf. It's not like that diploma that sits on the wall with your credential on it. That's lovely if you happen to have that, but that's not what this is. Even if credentials come, even if you go from being a visitor to having a raksu or to a gray robe or to a black robe, or by the way, a white robe, which we have yet to see in this community. A white robe would be a lay practitioner, someone who's not in clergy or seminary or ordained, someone who's a lay person and they're clear enough to get up on this platform with my blessing and have free rein to say whatever occurs. As a disciple, as a senior practitioner. So that's not just for those that are in the seminary track. That's all of us can be this. And I expect you to. This needs to happen. Not just for you, but for the whole community. But even when these Recognitions come along. Don't be satisfied. Don't make a nest. Of course, I won't let you, but still. You might think it counterintuitive, but it does happen that people actually get to a certain point and they don't want any more, and they leave. Because facing the infinite, boundless unfoldingness is a bit much. They need more joy in their effort. Too much seriousness about a serious thing will break you. In fact, the more serious a thing, the more joyful and lighthearted your touch needs to be. Right? Too young, snap. You think of a spring branch, you know, it's got water in it, so when you go like this, it bends with you, it's fine. So some yin. There's the intention of the branch, the direction, and there's the yin in it, so it's flexible. But when that branch becomes too yang-ized or too yanged out, it has no resiliency at all. It just goes, right? By the way, I'm not talking about twigs. After experiencing the turning about in the deepest seat of consciousness, the practitioner then experiences samadhis even unto the highest. Vajravim Pabama. Vajra means power. The power of the awakened ones. Which the sutra says, okay, we'll call that the ultimate, all the way to this which you can attain. They can enter into the realm of consciousness that lies beyond the mind system. This is, by the way, not a fairy tale. This is experienceable reality. There is a consciousness beyond eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, brain, egoic consciousness, and storehouse consciousness. What is it? They can experience the consciousness of the cosmos itself. Sadly, it doesn't mean you can move things with the force. You don't get a lightsaber. There's no magic wand that comes. But there is magic and there is a force. And the reality of it is far better than the stories. And I like some stories. Finally, they will become endowed with all powers, psychic faculties, self-mastery, loving compassion and kindness, skillful means, and the ability to enter into different Buddha lands. Buddha lands. Did you know you're at the center of your own Buddha land? You, dear one, are at the very high seat of your own mandala, your own take, your own experience and expression, for better and worse, like it or not. You're in the center of that. Let's learn how to wield that well. I can remember times when in my training, I felt really, really alone and very isolated and very frustrated and very challenged. And like there was no one who could really see me. I couldn't really even see myself in these times. And yet my teacher was able somehow to appear to me. In conversation, I mean. And somehow my teachers seemed like they could actually see me. And I began to actually see them back. And that seeing and being seen broke the chains. I wish this for all of us. I will spend my life doing what I can to help you with it. But ultimately, you must do it yourself. Before attaining self-realization of noble wisdom, beings had been influenced solely by the self-interests of egoic mind. That's it. It's pleasure and pain and ego. How do I protect myself? How do I get what I need? How do I contest with others for scarce resources? All that stuff. But after they attain self-realization, they will find themselves, and this is the punchline here. They will find themselves responding spontaneously in the moment to the impulses and intuitions of the great compassionate heart, the Dharma eye, endowed with skillful and boundless means. And they will sincerely and wholly be devoted to the emancipation of all beings. Imagine yourself, and I know you've probably already experienced tastes of this, where your spontaneous response to this moment, remember, an appropriate response, your spontaneous response to whatever the glory or tragedy, the heroic or tragic, the spontaneous response comes from the compassionate heart, endowed with skillful means and boundlessness. It's astonishing what the awakened mind can do. The ability to meet the moment can be dazzling. And none of this is for the gratification of the ego or the substantiation of the self or to monetize efficiently. No. It's about one thing: sincerely and devotedly dedicated to the emancipation of all beings, leaving none aside. For the sake of all beings throughout space and time, may we realize this fully. May it be so.
We will end with the Bodhisattva vows on page 8. Thank you again for being here today. We probably have some announcements, but as we're gathering the microphones, there will be a lunch today after service, so listen for the meal